So, Wayne, tell me about when and where you were born.
I was born in Springer,
Mm-hmm.
and in on the 8th of June, 1940,
Uh-huh.
and then I guess my mother come back over here, but she was teaching school either in Grimble or Sophie.
Okay.
She taught 1 year in Grimble, 1 in Sophie, I think,
Yep.
and the one in Grimble might have been before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was a year old at Sophie, and she left and went to California, and so she left me here with my grandmother and granddad.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if you're going to go to California, you leave him here. So they raised me.
Okay. How did your mom end up and your granddad end up in this area? Do you know when they came?
Yeah. Granddad and grandmother come on an immigrant car to Des Moines in 1914. I think granddad came in 13.
Oh, wow.
And then he went back and gathered everybody, horses, cows, chickens, whatever, and got on the train and come to Des Moines, and they homesteaded in the Sierra Grande Valley. And where they homesteaded is just west of here, about 8 miles.
Mm-hmm.
It's in Albrook's pasture.
Okay.
It was Biffle's then, and Biffle's really treated him nice. And he had a brother, and he homesteaded there too. I don't know where his homestead
Your granddad's brother?
Yeah.
Yep. Where did they come from again?
They come from I don't know where. Texas. I don't know whether it was in West Texas then or East Texas.
Yep.
I know grandmother's dad run a cotton gin and down in East Texas somewhere.
Yep.
And then I know they lived at Rising Star for a while, and they went to Comanche to visit and do the shopping, maybe, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
She and grandmother had a bunch of sisters, I don't know, 6, 7.
Oh, wow.
So they was scattered all over Texas,
Uh-huh.
California.
And were they, I guess they were homesteaders, so they did a little ranching and farming. Do you know much about what they did?
Granddad went in. Well, I know they farmed in Texas cotton, and then they moved up here with the homestead, and that changed it.
Yep.
And they stayed there long enough to prove it up.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister asked my grandmother one time what her highlight was in life, and she said it was when they got a well in the front yard and a windmill and water.
Uh-huh.
Because before that they had to haul it a mile and a half from a spring, and then if that spring went dry, well then they had to haul it 8 miles.
Oh, wow.
So
Right.
and
And maybe not even with a car, maybe, but not even.
no, they hauled it with a wagon
wagon,
team,
wow.
I'm sure.
Yep.
I do know grandmother quizzed her one time, and she said that he went to Des Moines. Granddad went to Des Moines, and he bought a Model T Ford. I don't know, maybe $400. I don't know, brand new. And she bought the team and wagon back to the claim, and she said he liked to never got there. He couldn't drive that thing. And then I think they traded that claim for a farm in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
And they moved out there, and then his brother got real sick. They didn't know what was wrong, so they sold it and come back. Of course, Clyde died while it was tendinitis, and they got him real quick.
Mm-hmm.
He's buried in the cemetery over here by Fairview, I think's the name of it.
Yeah.
And then I believe they went back to Texas and farmed a year or so, but then they come back, and he went to work for John Otto, and John Otto run sheep.
Okay.
And he owned the country from about Farley all the way to Clayton. At one time, well, he owned all the Darn Carter and Snyder's, and a big ranch west of Clayton. It was Maze's, and then Kilgore bought it first in about 54.
Sheep, huh?
Otto's was sheep, and he might have had some cattle, but I think Granddad mostly worked on the fences. There weren't any fences hardly anywhere, and if there were, they had 3 wires and posts about 50 yards apart.
Yep.
And that's the way he come to get this place, and I think that's about 1930.
1930.
And Otto traded him the land for labor, and he cheated him out some.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a long story.
Was this house here, or did your granddad build this house?
No, there was another house here. They moved here. It was an old schoolhouse, and then they built a tarp river shack on it, and it burnt.
Oh.
And 22nd of March and 57.
In 57.
Yeah.
So you were alive then?
Yeah, I was here.
Yeah.
I was 16. And it was March, and then me and Granddad had took the cream over to Greenville, put it on the train to go to milk cows and sold cream and farm. Farmed 320 acres up here. Anyway, it was about 10 o'clock, and we was coming back from over there on the road, and I seen the smoke and told him, man, that don't look good. We got here, it's burnt. Grandmother was the only one here. It happened fast in a wooden frame house.
Yep. Was it a cook stove, or do you know what started it?
Yeah, it was a kerosene stove.
Yep.
And we just rebuilt the kitchen, borrowed the money and rebuilt it, put a basement. We spent all summer putting water in the house, because they moved back from Clayton, where they'd been running their home milk, and moved back out here. And Rex never did go to Clayton. He stayed here.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I helped him. We built that well house that summer. That was about 54. We worked 54 and 55. We worked on this house.
Yep. Is Rex your mom's brother?
Yes.
Yeah.
But he's more or less one that jerked me up, and I followed him around. He was much a cowboy.
Yeah. Oh.
And so when it burned down, well, it come the worst snowstorm I think that's ever come to this country. That night.
That night.
Yeah, it was. It's the reason why it's so memorable. It happened on a Friday. And school was out. So I went and Granddad, I finally drove him over there to take the cream and drive in the car. And Rex and my Aunt Helen, she was a school teacher in Springer at the time. They was at the teachers meeting in Raton, and they got a hold to him somehow and told him the house had burned. And they got back in the afternoon, like 2 or 3 o'clock. And them clouds was really high, and they were rolling in, and Granddad said, well, I gotta go to town and get groceries. And him and Grandmother left, and they got as far as Greenville, and it was really blowing bad, so they turned around and come back. And our neighbors over here at Chris Place, the old house that's sitting over on the road, Granddad and Rex went over and stayed all night with them. And they decided me and Aunt Helen and grandmother would go up to Tunks and stay all night. So we did. We went up there, and the next day this blizzard was really howling. It's 100 miles an hour, and you couldn't see nothing. You couldn't breathe in it.
Wow.
It blowed 72 hours, 100 miles an hour. It killed everything that lived in this country. Filled all the houses full of snow, barns, with them, if they had any.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot. So the house burned down and then a giant storm came. That must have felt like the end of the world, or...
Pretty close.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how grandmother and granddad felt. And they just borrowed all that money down at the bank. And then I think they'd been down there a week or two before trying to get more insurance. And they piddled around waiting on them, and finally got mad and come home and they didn't get it. So the insurance didn't
help.
Didn't have it enough to mount to anything. So it was really hard to do this.
Yep.
And Granddad found this old house up there in Kathleen, and then it was stuccoed, and it leaked, and the stucco was falling off the walls and everything. But there was enough shingles in the front room. I think this might have been the front room. I can't remember. It's all turned around. We turned it around, I think. Anyway, he paid $500 for it and 14 lots or something, capital. And we jacked it up and hauled it across the prairie and road. And we built that basement down there before we got here. We worked quite a bit building it before we went and got the house, while we was working on it. It took all summer to do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say how long. Yeah.
And then when we got here, we tore all that. It was laths. There's nail on the walls. It didn't have any insulation in it, and we didn't put any back in it either. But we tore it all off, and it had a 10-foot ceiling in it. We lowered it 2 feet and put that knotty pine ceiling in it. And we had already stuck all the stucco in a hole where this house was turned around, that bathroom, and that was the kitchen and the bathroom together. Grandmother didn't want the kitchen close to the bathroom, so they made it a pantry.
Pantry, yep.
And I think this room wasn't that big. We rebuilt that wall and cut that door in it. And we tore it. We just gutted it.
Yep.
Started over, and then it took the fall.
Yeah.
And then we was farming the field at that time. Somebody had to go up there and cut beans, cane.
Yeah.
Pile of beans. I ended up, that was my chore mostly. And if we got in trouble, I'd go get Rex. I remember one day he had a bunch of kids up there, about 6, 7. They were supposed to be piling beans, and they was laying down sleeping in the cane, and I was raking them with a dump rake and king horses. And I told them, get up, go to work. And they didn't listen to me. They was my age. And I come down here to the house. Boy, that old pickup didn't hardly hit the ground going back up there. They was out of the cane and on piling beans when he got there. And he said, don't you quit till dark. Left him. He didn't have to say anything to him. Now that field was 320 acres.
Oh, wow.
And
so you moved the house and had fields going the same summer.
yeah, well, they farmed that field. I was farming it when I got big enough to follow.
Yep.
I remember Granddad, let's see, when my uncles was little, well, somehow he got a hold of a colored man. And he was just a boy, same age as them. He stayed here till they went to the army. And I think he would, well, when they took the boys to the army, he wanted to go too. So he left. And he went to Albuquerque, and they didn't take him because something was wrong. He had flat feet. And his name was John Lee.
John Lee.
He's flipping that rock house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this time you're telling me where your grandparents were, they came here and they were moved to different places. Do you remember any stories about the Dust Bowl or the Dirty 30s? What were they doing at that time? Were they here?
Yes, they were. I think it was at Gladstone.
Sorry.
They come somewhere along the line. They come back, and one house they lived in over there was just north of Gladstone. It's called the Starkey Place. There's still a basement there.
And were they farming, or how did they get by?
He was working for John Otto.
Oh, yep.
And maybe they might have. They had a picture of the ponies we had here, Spark Plug and Pinto. They was standing on sandbank and fences all covered, and there wasn't nothing but sand.
Wow.
Skinny, a couple of Holstein calves. I don't know, that might have been at the Claim, or it might have been over there at Farley.
Yep.
Because that's a sandy country over there, and it was farmed, so it blew away too.
Yeah.
And it might have even been up here on the corner of the field, because I know they was there in the 30s. So, yeah, they was up here in 34. So it was probably right up here where these rocks are. They lived up there on the hill first. And they started this orchard down here. And somehow, I think they was planning on moving down there anyway. It's prettier.
Yeah.
But they lived up there. It's about all there is. There's some rocks
Left.
where the Krell's was house.
Yeah.
And so they was in the Sophie School District. And somehow Granddad got mad at the Sophie School District, so he moved down here so he'd be in Grimble, so the kids could go to school in Grimble.
Do you know when your Uncle Rex and your mom were born? Like, was that?
My mother was born in 1917. And that was I think it was, and Rex was born in 25, and they was at La Mesa then. And I don't know where Mary Sue was.
She the youngest? Or?
Rex was.
Rex is the youngest.
His baby, and Aunt Helen was the oldest, and then Uncle Bob was next, and Earl and Rex, and no Earl. Mary Sue was between Bob and Earl, and then Earl and Rex.
Yeah.
They was about 2 years apart.
Mary Sue's your mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
The 30s, yeah. It's a pretty bad story about the 30s. Their cattle was in pretty good shape, the way I understood it. Anyway, the government made some kind of deal that they were supposed to buy the better ones. They'd come out and they had a committee. They had some guys hired or something. And they come to see Granddad's cattle one day while he was gone, and they shot them all. And he was pretty mad. He found liquor bottles and beer cans, and he threw a fit about it. And they were supposed to buy the good ones.
Right, but he wasn't there.
He wasn't there, and they come and had a party. Boy, he was very unhappy. It's all hearsay to me.
Yeah. Do you know how many cattle he had, or?
Well, I didn't know. It was probably milk cows and stuff.
Yeah.
Because we had milk cows. Even when uncles went to the army, and Granddad milked them. He taught me how to milk when I was about that big, about 4. And it was a shack up here on the hill. And Mr. Wooten lived in it, and he helped him some, but he was old. And I think about the time that he figured out the war's over and the other boys was coming home, he left and went to Grimble. Granddad tried to get him to stay. and he went over there. Hey, Dad, there was I guess it was a gas station, but I guess it was a bar too. And go to Grimble, they could get whiskey, beer, and stuff. He didn't last very long. Got over there.
Let's see.
It seemed like that's the way that worked.
Yep.
And then there was a Mexican man who lived up here, Mike Sinis. He helped quite a bit in the field. And every time they needed somebody.
Yeah.
He couldn't drive very good. I remember later years Rex had him driving the old truck. It was about a 50 mile. But he didn't know how to shift the gears, and so he got it in a low gear and he'd just put the gas on as hard as he'd go. About burned the dang thing up before he got where to go.
So you grew up with helping your grandparents?
Yeah, I lived here.
Yeah.
And then, well, time or two, my mother come and got me in first grade. She decided she wanted me to start California. Big mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like California. I didn't get along. And I stayed there 2 years and didn't learn nothing. I knew more of where I went than I did when I come back.
Yeah.
And then finally I got smart enough, old enough to know I ain't going there no more.
And then she shipped you back here?
Yeah, let me come back.
Yeah.
Well, she always had to go to the teacher's school in the summer.
Uh-huh.
Redlands or somewhere. And so she sent me and my sister out here to be with the grandparents in the summertime while she went to school. And then I finally got old enough to tell me that I wasn't going to live in California.
You were going back again.
Yeah.
Any other family stories or memories about the 30s?
Well, see, didn't have no cattle. And I remember one thing that they, these are just stories that I heard. One of Granddad's sisters, she married a OOHRP, and they lived over there on the Don Carlos Hills. And he had some cattle that they didn't kill. Somehow he got them by. I guess he was home and he run them off when they come to look at his. I don't know what the deal was. But anyway, he brought them over to put them on our Granddad's pasture. And the field had blowed out on the grass, just the sand, because it was bad. And it rained. This is 35, and rained good, and the thistles growed up real high out there, and that's all there was out there was thistles. And old Bev, he said, "Oh, them thistles will kill them." And it's they're good for them. They'll just get fat. And so he wanted the kids to herd them off of the thistles, not let them eat the thistles. That's the story.
Sure, yeah.
Well, the reason why, because it's the dumbest thing you ever heard of.
Yeah.
And they tell me in 35 they made more beans than they ever did.
Really?
Yeah. 34 was total wipeout.
Oh, and then 35 was a bumper.
Yeah. And everywhere. And all around Sophie and everywhere else over in Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
So they filled all the elevators with beans. And then the price of beans wasn't even $2 a pound, or let's see, how was it? 2 cents a pound.
Mm-hmm.
Or wasn't even $2 a hundred. So they couldn't sell them. So all the elevators burnt with everybody's beans in them.
Beans in them, yeah. Oh, wow.
There was one in Grimble, one in Mount Dora, one. There's one at Farley.
Uh-huh.
I don't know whether there's one in Sophie.
Yeah.
But
So
there might have been.
How did they get by? Do you know? I mean, just hard times.
The main thing was grandmother raised turkeys. She raised about 60 turkeys a year.
Oh, wow.
And she raised 100 chickens, baby chickens every year. And of course they had some some for laying hens, but they ate them little chickens when they got not that big when I went to eat. In the summertime, they didn't have no deep freeze none, so that was fresh meat.
Yeah.
And the cream, selling milk, cream was a big deal.
Right.
And it lasted till 58. And they took the train off, and Granddad said they're gonna take the passenger train off, and it won't be any good no more. Because the passenger train was in Greenville at 10 o'clock every morning. Just you could set your watch by it.
Yep.
Went from Amarillo to Denver. And so they said, well, we'll get it with trucks, and that didn't work. It didn't fly, and the creamery closed. That next year, closed down in Trinidad.
Yeah. Do you know when that was?
58.
58. And so that was the end of the milk cows.
Yeah, well, we got rid of them. Got rid of them. Yeah, about 58. I'm not real sure. The train might have lasted till 59, but it was about 58.
Yep.
And then another reason they got rid of them, I was going to graduate from school, and they figured that I wouldn't be around milking cows.
Their free labor was gone from.
I couldn't milk quite as many as my uncle could, but I could sure hold my own.
Yep. Where did you go to school again?
Well, I started in California.
Right.
Then I went to Greenville.
Uh-huh.
And then, let's see, 48, I think that's when they moved to Clayton. I went to school in Clayton some. Then I went back to California, back and forth a time or two. Till I was I was going to be in the 9th grade, I guess. I think I went through the 7th and 8th in Clayton. And I'd been in the 7th, and in California didn't learn anything, so they made me do the 7th grade over in Clayton.
Yep.
And I started catching up then. They kind of caught up.
Yeah, where did you go to high school?
Des Moines.
In Des Moines.
I went to the 9th grade at Sophie. 1 year. Me and 2 Army old girls in the 9th grade. and then so that come around, and I told him that I didn't want to ride that bus to Clayton because I'd rode it a little bit when we moved out here.
Yeah.
Man, you had to get up middle of the night. We had to get up. I don't know that I even helped milk the cows then because it was dark. And
Yeah.
they got home in the dark. And they'd come and get me and go back by Sophie, and they'd go all the way around by Atlee's, and then they'd go to Greenville and then to Clayton.
Wow.
I would ride it. If on a good day, he rode it over an hour going one way. Hour and a half.
Yep.
And the roads weren't very good either. There's just 2 tracks,
Yeah.
most of it.
Uh-huh. You remember who drove the bus?
Yeah. Miss Chris and Chet Chris and Mr. Chris, they drove the school bus.
Yep. Is that Crisp?
Christ.
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 Okay. Yep.
And then, so when I was going to be in the 9th grade, why, I told them I didn't want to go to Clayton, and somehow Granddad went down there and talked to him, and they decided, yeah, he can come to school with Sophie. And so then the next year I had to have a choice, I guess, but the bus, it wasn't one. Yeah, they sent the bus down here from Des Moines, asked them, and I didn't want to go to Clayton.
Yep.
Because they had that long ride and torment,
Yeah.
and I wasn't old enough to drive a car, so.
Yep.
So, and the bus driver, the old one that had been here, he had him a little, in fact, that little old house out there, it was up here at Tunks. And the old bus driver, he'd drive the bus down there, and he'd stay all night in that shack, and then he'd get up the next morning and drive it back to Des Moines and do something. And he did that 5 days a week and sleep in that house and then
Right.
and run it back. He made a little money at it. Well, this other guy, his name was Jay Ellis. He bought a brand new bus. He was 56, and the bus was a 56, I know that. Anyway, I guess it was new. I don't even know. And he run it for about 2 or 3 months. And he asked me one day, he says, "Do you think your uncle will be interested in the bus route?" I'll tell you what, I'll go ask him. Rex bought the bus, and he run it for years.
Oh yeah.
So he'd go up there, drive the bus up there. It didn't pay really well, but you had to buy your own bus, and you had to fix it, tires, chains, and it wasn't much of a road, and it rained a lot and snowed a lot.
Yep.
It was a muddy mess. And then he got him a job working in the gas station up there for 6 hours. And,
but between bus routes? Yeah.
Yeah, instead of coming back here.
Yeah.
So everything kind of had to hang on here.
Uh-huh.
So that still created a pretty big problem. We got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go milk these cows.
Yeah,
so
that's
we'd
what I was
get ready
gonna
to
say,
leave here
yeah.
by 7. Then we got home in the evening and went and milked them again. I didn't do much homework.
Yeah.
What I did on the bus.
Tell me, I know kind of some of your chores. What did people do for fun when you were growing up?
Rex broke horses,
Uh-huh.
and I got to learn that, and about every. Well, we hunted too. We did a lot of hunting. We hunted deer, and once in a while elk when they hunted coons, and there was a lot of rabbits. We'd hunt rabbits.
Yep.
And riding them horses was a lot of fun, especially when you're a kid.
Yeah.
And then they had a whole bunch of milk pen calves down there when the boys come home from the army, and they bought me a pair of spurs, and they'd take me down there and give me a picking string and put me on them calves till they and finally got where they couldn't find any to buck me off. So then I started riding bulls.
Mm-hmm.
And then they didn't want me to do that. But they taught me how.
Oh, right.
It was a little hard to get around grandmother. No, you ain't going. She didn't like that.
Yeah, she didn't want you doing that. After, yeah, good.
The stock producer lived in Honey, Colorado, and he had rough stock. People got hurt riding them dang things. Those things are full-fledged. Bulls was ranked, horses was too.
Yeah, and were there rodeos? Is that where people were doing that?
Yeah.
How often would they have a rodeo at Grenville?
Once a year.
Once a year.
And it was American Legion put it on, and so then they got to buying some Brahma cows, and they roped the calves and rode the cows, and they got to having it a little more often, maybe 2 or 3 rodeos. And then one year they took those cows to Hayden down there to help put that rodeo on. They still have the rodeo at Hayden every Labor Day. Still.
Yep.
I don't know, they started way back in the 40s.
Mm-hmm. Where else were there other local rodeos?
Yeah, there was one in Des Moines, one in Springer, one in Clayton.
Yeah.
And one in Roy. And then you go north, there was one in Holly, one in Springfield, and Trinidad. Trinidad was on Labor Day though.
Mm-hmm.
And
so it's a big deal.
And then I'm sure there was one in Red River, and to the consequences is it's all over. Mm-hmm. And then there's all over Texas, Delhart, and
yeah.
Delhart had a big one, XIT.
But your grandma didn't want you to be in the rodeo or buck the bulls.
No, she didn't want me, but I had Rex by the. Anyway, I told him, well, you taught me how, so you can sign it. I had to get a release signed, though, wasn't it? 16, 17 years old. And after I got one or two of them signed, I didn't have to have a release anymore. They'd just take my money.
Yep.
Ward might have, he was the only one that made you sign a little release. And he put in your head to do that to stay out of trouble. I'm sure.
What about dances? Tell me about about dances.
Yeah, they have one generally at a rodeo. Actually, they put that rodeo on. They had to hire the stock and everything and put it on, and they probably lost money on that. And they had to have a rifle and sell tickets on a saddle or a horse or something, and then they had the dance, and the dance and bring in a little money. I think you probably cost you $1.50 to go to the dance. And they had them. Used to have one over here pretty often in a little place called Jake's Sheep Barn that was just west of Des Moines.
And would it go all night or?
No, they got over about 1. Sometimes they got over here depending on when the fight started.
That's right. Those cowboys are rowdy.
Yeah, and I don't know. It was just the thing when you go to the dance. Well, some of them just went looking for that special thing. Just different communities. And go to another place and whoop up on somebody.
When you were growing up, were there more families out here?
Yeah, there's quite a few. Quite a few farms.
Yep.
They had dances all over the country. Yeah, there was a lot more people.
Yeah. When did people start leaving, or how did that happen? Slow or?
Well, 34 really got a lot of them because there was homesteads all over around out here, and they just couldn't make it, so they walked off, left them.
Yeah.
And some of them traded them. Joe Doherty run a store at Fulton. I don't know how he managed to stock it, but he'd stock them in groceries and plows and everything else. A lot of them, they just went over there and told him, I'm gonna pay my bill, and walk and give it to him.
Give him their property. Wow. So did he end up with a lot of land then, I guess?
Yeah, he owned over 1 million acres.
Whoa. Yeah.
Before he died.
There were dry times in the 50s. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Also?
Yeah. We seemed like 1 year or 2 we didn't have any cattle here. And then 1 year we had them here, and they leased the place up by Lake Malloy. It's north of Raton and up again Johnson Macy. And we drove cattle from here over there, and I wasn't very old. In 4th or 5th grade, I got to go. And I didn't get to go bring them home because it was in the fall and I had to go to school.
Yeah.
But it took a week to take them up there.
That worked out good though. I mean, at least you got to keep
I don't know whether it did any good, but it rained here while I was gone. When I come back, there was grass because there wasn't nothing to eat it. So they got in pretty good shape when they got home.
Yeah.
And that canyon was oak brush. And I guess there was a little grass under it, but they ate it up pretty fast. They promised that they'd put them out on top. And I don't know, it didn't pan out very good.
Yeah. So when you graduated from high school, did you hang out? Did you stay around or?
For a while. And then my mother wanted me to go to California again. I knew it was wrong. So she talked around and they said they'd give me a scholarship to play basketball. And I wasn't that good. Anyway, I went out there and I went through the front door and it was just like all the California schools. And I went out the back door. Went and got a job. As soon as I got enough money to come home, I come home.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't very long that I run that bus for a little while. And pretty lonesome out here. Granddad wouldn't let me go nowhere. And so, anyway, Uncle Sam took me.
Okay. When was that?
I went to the Army in January 1961.
Uh-huh.
And I graduated in 59.
Right, so a couple years later.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I went to Fort Hood, Texas, and done basic training. And then when we got the orders where to go from there, why, I went right back to Fort Hood and took AIT for another 8 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And they said we was going to go to Laos or Cambodia. And ended up the 6 of us. They sent us to North Fort Myer, Virginia, and we landed in Honor Guard. And there was the difference. If you joined the Army, when you was regular Army, it was RA, and you had to be joined for 3 years. If they drafted you, your serial number was US, and that was 2 years. Of course, you still had 6 more years to put in after you did the 2 years. But so me and one guy from Valentine, Texas was U.S. and then other 4 guys was RA, and they was about 17. Man, they scared them to death. They didn't know what the heck to think of it. I didn't like it either. But me and this guy, with both of them, they put us in the caisson section.
Uh-huh.
I didn't even know what the caisson section was.
What is it?
It's a horse platoon.
Oh. All right.
This company commander in the Honor Guard, he asked me some questions about horses. He'd asked that old sergeant how I marched, and the sergeant said he walked like he walked behind a plow all his life. I didn't want to see him no more. Anyway, that captain says, "How'd you like to go to the caisson section?" And I said, "What's that?" "It's a horse platoon right down the street." I said, "I'll get my duffel bag, I'm gone." And so I went down there and stayed. So I spent 19 months in Arlington Cemetery riding a horse. That wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
It was a lot better than a rice paddy in Vietnam.
For sure.
I think it got pretty rough over there in Laos and Cambodia about that time.
Yeah.
And then it got
lucky.
rougher after I got out.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder I didn't have to go back. I got married, so they didn't want me.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you meet your wife?
In Virginia.
In Virginia.
Yeah. We stayed hooked for 35 years, but boy, girls from Virginia ain't the same. They don't fit out here.
Did you bring her back here?
Yeah.
Yeah. How long did you live here with her?
Well, we didn't get along too good. She stayed here for a little while, and I had to find a job here and there. Then we moved all over New Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
California, all over. Worked on about every ranch that was around here.
Yeah.
And then we got kind of cross-wired. Got a divorce, and she went to Virginia. A couple of years later, I went to see the kids, and I decided we'd take them back, raise them. So we got remarried and then tried it over, and I managed to make it 35 years. And finally, it blew up.
Yep. So you have, is it 2 daughters? Is that right? Or am I wrong about that?
I had 2 daughters and
Yep.
a son.
And a son.
And one daughter got killed.
Oh, okay.
08.
So you raised your kids and had a tumultuous relationship with your wife, and you're all around. Did you always do ranching in those times, or did
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Well, I took those kids, they lived in Grimble, and I had a semi. And I took a load of cattle to the sale, and when I come back to Grimble, I just kept flagging. I had both the kids, and I ran off to Colorado. It took her a month or two to find me.
Wow.
But I couldn't find a job hardly, and I finally found one driving a log truck. And
Up in Colorado.
over there at Ananita, I was hauling logs off of Wolf Creek Pass,
Yeah.
south of Wolf Creek. And I couldn't hardly take care of them. I'd have to leave at 3 o'clock in the morning and get home way in the dark. And they'd tell me how bad the babysitter was. I'd lose one, I had to go find another one. I had to do all that shopping at night because I just had a job to do.
It was hard to be a single dad.
Yeah. Finally they found me, and I told them, just take them, I couldn't take care of them. Anyway, then, so this guy that I'd worked for, he kept writing me letters and said he'd give me a job for he'd pay me $40 a day if I'd come up and work. And so after I remarried, I knew she wouldn't get along here. So I called him up and, yeah, come on up. Of course, he never did give me that. But I got on a construction job up there and made pretty good money. Driving a log truck or a skidder. It's hard work, cutting trees.
Yep.
And it's a time that was happening. It was west of Denver. They got a molybdenum mine at the bottom of Berthoud Pass on this side, and tailing ponds had all got full. So they decided to dig a tunnel all the way through that mountain and come out over there on the western slope. And then they cleared the land for the tailing ponds and built a mill. And it took them 5 years to dig that tunnel through that mountain.
Wow.
To haul the ore from over here on the east slope to the west slope, and then run it through the mill over there. And all I did was work on the clearing the timber part.
Yep.
But I could drive that log truck. I learned it the hard way. I never had drove one. They said, "What can you do?" I can drive a truck. You ever haul logs? You bet.
Right.
I learned a lot in a little while.
Scary.
Yeah, pretty scary.
Yep. But I think that you call this place your home, right? You've lived a lot of places. Yeah.
Well, after I got that divorce, my uncle called me up and says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Why don't you come back down here and run this damn thing?" And I said, "Okay."
Yep.
And then he passed away just before I got here. I had to clear up all the business.
Yeah.
I didn't have nothing up there.
Yeah.
Just had to sell the cows. The lawyer said I did. I had 200 cows paid for. But it took me a long time doing it.
Yeah. To build that herd.
And a woman spinning.
So you kind of, right.
I finally ended up driving a school bus up there. I drove a school bus for almost 30 years.
Oh, wow.
I finally got out of the,
School bus business.
well, I got out of the construction part of it because I traded that old truck the day I left here. That semi, I traded it for 10 cows, and that's the way I got the cows started. They weren't very good ones. I hauled them up there and found a place to lease and just kept building on them. I moved up there in '70, so I'd done quite a bit of work before I got the job of driving that bus. And then I ended up driving lots of activity trips, and they all went over Mountain Pass every time you went. Wintertime. But that bus was good. The buses was pretty good. They had hold the road good, and it was a whole lot better than driving a log truck.
Yep. So when you got divorced and you came back, but your uncle passed away before you got back here.
Yeah, well, I'd been down to see him and everything, and we had it all planned out. And he ended in the hospital over at Raton to come see him, and he seemed like, I thought he was okay. And I said, I gotta go back and tie up about 2-3 things, and I'll be back in just a couple of days. And they called me up and he passed away.
Yeah.
He had a rhythm in his heart. I thought I seen it on that board, but I didn't understand it too good. And jump in it.
Yeah.
And they decided that it was going to shock him, and they shocked him, and that was it. But he had emphysema real bad.
Oh, was he a smoker?
Yeah, all my uncles. See, back during the World War II, well, they didn't smoke before, but anyway, they really got them hooked there. They in their K rations and everything, they had cigarettes in them.
Yeah.
For all the boys, and Lucky Strikes, Philip Morris, Chesterfields, and they no filters, and that's real tobacco.
Yeah.
And I think that's what got them. And a lot of bean dust. All these old trails get dusty too. You eat a lot of dust if you're a cowboy.
Yeah.
But I smoked a little bit, but then I kind of quit, and then I just chewed Copenhagen for a long time, and finally I decided it was going to kill me, so I quit that. I got pretty good air.
So, for you, what makes this area, this community so special?
Oh, it's just home. When I was a teenager growing up, we'd get through working in the field or anything, well, I didn't get on the horse and go ride till midnight. And the dogs, listen to them chase bobcats and coons. There was lots of coons because we farmed. And they'd do good. They had corn to eat and cane to eat. There was a lot of rabbits, and the bobcats was thick because they had plenty of, and there wasn't very many coyotes because they poisoned them all in '48 and like to kill them all. And then '50s there wasn't hardly any.
Yeah.
And they finally managed to come back.
And you said that there was that big storm, the house of the year burned down, and did that kill a lot of the wildlife? Or did it make it through? Did it change it?
It killed it. It killed a lot of the rabbits. It took the hair off an antelope. I know it killed them. You'd see them and their sides would just be red. There wasn't no hair left on them and failed them. And the jackrabbits got behind the soakweed, and then for months they'd be standing there. You'd see them standing out there, and finally they'd fall over and they froze standing up. Yeah, and I'm sure it killed lots of antelope. I know it killed lots of rabbits.
Yeah.
And that pasture, Doherty's right over here, they had about 200 cows in that pasture and killed every one of them. Piled them all in the corner. And the soil conservation, I seen a big old tractor out here. I don't know what side it was. Probably an Army cat. About the size of a D8 or something like that. And they dug holes and pushed all the cattle in and covered them up on account of there was going to be a fly problem, stinking problem. And they come by here on the way and shoved all the burnt off in the canyon over here and dug us this hole where we put this basement. And then that spring, it just kept raining. I can remember that hole being plumb full of water. And I hauled rocks all spring when I had time.
Yeah.
And middle of summer we took out a day. I think we built that basement in about a day. Might have been 2 days.
When you came back and took over the farm, were there cows here? Were you still doing cattle after Rex died?
No, it was leased.
Leased.
And I brought a little money with me.
Yeah.
I had some. And I bought some cows and put on it.
Yeah.
And I actually, he didn't leave it to me. It's in a trust, but I'm one of them.
Yeah.
And it's 1/5. It's a whole bunch of them are dead, so I don't know how it's going to work out.
Right. And you live out here.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem that anybody else is interested in it or doing
Well,
it.
I may have to buy them out. I don't know.
Yeah. So.
But I don't have to right now because they left it me, the boss. I can do whatever I want to with it. I can run it or take in yearlings or let somebody lease it.
Yeah.
But as long as I can keep doing it, well, I'm just happy doing it.
I mean, it's the cowboy lifestyle that you love.
I can't do a whole lot of work anymore. It's getting kind of rotten, but I can still take care of the cows.
Yeah.
So far.
Tell me, I mean, how have things changed for cowboys or for ranchers since, when you were a kid and today?
Well, like when I was a kid, it was just milking cows and farming that field. We went to work in that field quite a bit in the winter, summer, and then whenever we quit farming the field, well, my uncle we had hay equipment and stuff, so we went and baled hay for somebody else. Wherever we'd make, in the bar ditch, we used to cut the bar ditch from Mount Dora to Grenville. One time I think I was working up there at T. Ulrich's, he cut the bar ditch from Kathleen all the way right on.
So you were saying that for a farmer or a rancher, there's always something, right? I mean, always something going wrong.
Oh yeah.
So what are the times that you really remember that being true? You got frustrated or whatever.
Well, blizzards are pretty rough, and then the fires.
Yep.
Since I've been back down here one day in the spring, we had 19 fires going one time.
Wow.
The whole country was burning.
Do you know when that was? Since you've been back, so sometime in the last.
I'd say it was about 05 or 04, 05.
Yeah. Can they help?
We saved Ashley's place over from burning. It was the Virgo clouds, and they was full of lightning, and then they just sprinkled, and a lot of times it wouldn't even hit the ground, and the wind was blowing like heck, and that fire come rolling across there is this tall or 10 feet tall, just rolling.
Yeah.
Fast as your pickup would run, 40 miles an hour. And we sprinkled all around Durga and Danny's house over there.
Yeah.
They wondered what the heck to do. I said, well, you got some garden hoses, I'll start wetting it down. And they had a county road there right in front of their house, and the fireman from Farley come down. It was a little fire truck and sprayed the weeds right on my bar ditch. Boy, when that smoke got there, I thought I could fight it, and I took my air. I couldn't do nothing.
Yep.
Till the smoke left.
Yeah.
But it went around it.
So the water worked.
And then we kept fighting it there and kept it from getting in the house or the yard or anything. And I didn't get, and no sparks got on the roof or anything.
Yeah.
And there was John Ashley's house is just to the east of it there. Wasn't nobody living in it. But the cattle that yearlings had went around there and ate all the kosher weeds down around the outside. But there was plenty of tall ones in the yard. But it just went right around and burnt the yard fence down, but it didn't
get the house.
It didn't get the house.
Yeah.
And there was an old barn that fell over out there, and they had been tromping around it so much it didn't burn it either. It should have burned it. It was ready to be burned anyway.
I mean, so like when those fires happened, you could call people up on the phone, but I imagine you couldn't always. I mean,
You can see them.
You can see them.
Yeah, and a lot of times I get up there on the hill where I can see good. And Philip, he's pretty good. if he thinks he sees smoke or something out this way, he'd call me up. Say, you know where that is? Yeah, it's over there on the darn Gordon's Hill.
Yeah.
But that time they wasn't around. They was down towards Clayton. They was burning all over the place. And I think when it was all over, he summed it up. He's the fire chief of Grimble. He said they had 19 different places.
Wow.
There was one burning in the mountain door about the time that happened, and I seen the lightning hit over there on the hill, and I run to Sophie and found the guy that was working there, and we run over there and run into Deason out in his pasture, and he said he's pretty excited. What do you think? And I says, I think we can't do nothing to this. It's going to come and get us. We better get over to your house and start seeing if we can do something to
save it.
And I told him maybe he ought to move them horse trailers. They was sitting in front of his house between the county road and his house.
Yeah.
And then he got excited and I don't know, I think he tore the hitch off of one of them, the bumper off. But anyway, it never jumped the road, but if it had it, would have got them trailers on fire, we couldn't have saved his house.
Yep. Yeah, would have fueled.
Was trying to think.
Yeah.
And I run and got that way. The garden hoses, they just wet, but I had it pretty wet all around them trailers and everything when the fire got there. And it didn't jump the road.
That's good. I mean, so one way that you can see what's going on with your neighbors is just by looking. When did you guys have phones out here? And before phones, how did you communicate with your neighbors?
Oh, word of mouth, I guess.
Yeah.
They got some phones down at Sophie quite a few years ago, but they weren't very good. There was a phone at Sophie you could go call somebody.
Yeah.
It was at that ranch house. And actually, Belchiff had a phone. And they was good neighbors. You could go down there and use the phone.
Yeah.
And they didn't get one here. I don't know why they didn't get on the phone line.
Yeah.
And then finally, Baca Valley started putting phone lines all over this country, and they got a phone here.
Yeah.
And then the time I got down here, they got a hold of these cell phones, and they started working.
Yep.
And so I just took my landline phone out. I didn't even need it.
Yep.
It'd be hooked up. It's all you got to do is plug it in, start paying for it, but it cost quite a bit.
Yeah, just
especially long distance, because you had to get a long distance carrier, and they really are ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't have a home phone either. I just have a cell phone, but I'm just interested in it's so easy to communicate now with the internet and the phone, and how people did it in the past before we were so reliant on it, you know?
I had a Verizon phone about, it ain't been too long ago, about 3 years ago. And then we had a pretty good storm, 2 feet of snow. It was dang hard to get around, and whenever it gets like that, why, once in a while the county will come, but it'll blow the road shut that night.
Yeah.
And so you got to figure out a way to get around. I had cows down at Sophie at the time, and going back and forth. Damn phone wouldn't work, and it blew the tower down up there on the top of Sierra Grande.
Wow.
The Verizon tower, and Baca Valley wouldn't let them use theirs, and they wouldn't. And they tried to get them to go up there and put theirs up. And finally, I'd been without a phone, and it was worth a damn for 2 or 3 weeks, a month. And I finally got a hold to him, and I told him, I says, "That's the first time I've been able to talk to you."
Right.
As soon as I can get loose, get to town. When I get to town, I'm gonna come back with a phone that works. Your history.
Your history.
And it was. I got rid of that phone. It wasn't very good anyway. It dropped. Wouldn't work a lot of places. And you get in a distant little hole, you can go right over here in the creek. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. It worked right here in the house or out there up here on top of the hill.
Yep.
It wouldn't work in the barn.
Can we talk about water out here? What kind of wells do you have on your land? Are they windmills or dirt tanks or springs?
Well, there was windmills up till,
Yeah.
they started going dry. On account of all the air, I think it's on account of the irrigating down there, east of us.
Yep.
I think they're draining the aquifer, and I think it lowered the water table here.
Yep.
Because there's a whole bunch of wells west of here. It's when dry, it was pretty good when I was a kid.
Interesting.
And I had one over here, and I thought, well, it was about 130 feet deep, and then got where it wouldn't water 10 cows. So I got a welder, and when we witched it and everything, thought we moved about 10 feet from the old one. And when we got down there where the old one was, there wasn't no water. And then he finally found water at 700.
700. Wow.
And drilled it 800 feet. And then
That's
had no way to pump it with a windmill, so. And it's electricity not close to it, or very close. So I just got a solar well and put in it, and so far it's worked.
Yep.
And it rose up to where we put the pump in at about 6.
Good. Yep.
But it's working pretty good. But it costs a lot of money. It costs $40,000.
Yeah. My goodness. So what do you think the future of this area looks like?
Oh, it's gonna change.
Some families are leaving, I think, right?
Well, most of them's already gone.
Yeah.
And then, what families are going to be here? Is it going to be these big ranches in their hands?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to amount to. It's pretty near that way already. It's just pretty near that way. There ain't very many people like me. And most of them are quite a bit more hooked up than I am.
Yep. Do you think it'll, I don't know, what advice do you have for the next generation of cowboys and ranchers?
Get a hold to that old cow's tail and hang on.